to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I want to welcome all of you to the February 25th Rochester Common Council meeting. Council, have you had a chance to look at the meetings from last month as well as the Board of Public Works minutes?
I make motion for minutes.
Second. Brian Goodman seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Beth, do you have any communications?
Yeah.
We have no public hearing tonight, so Brian, if you go over the ordinance.
Alan. If there's no objection, we'll have our third and final reading of ordinance number 33-2024 by title only. All right, ordinance number 33-2024, an ordinance establishing the Rochester downtown designated outdoor refreshment area, DORA. All right, this time we'll entertain a motion for the adoption of ordinance number 33-2024. You make that motion?
Amy, did you?
Need a second.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Ordinance passed. 4-2, 1 abstention. Okay, ordinance number 4-2025. You wanna explain this one?
Last month, we voted on this, it's in your packet. We had to modify a little bit, but it was on the seasonal sprinkling rates. It was worded a little bit wrong, and the ladies in the water office caught it this morning. So originally, last month, we voted on the average, it said the average of January only, which you can't average 1 month. So, but they thought because sometimes January is extremely cold, people leave our faucets drip, might have frozen lines above, you know. It wasn't fair to just take that 1 month to set the rate for the year, so they said we should still stay with November, December, January average. So that's the way it's been rewritten, and then down at the bottom, it said we changed, or down at the bottom of that paragraph in bold, we went from January 1st, and it should have been February 1st. Those are the only 2 changes, but we got to adopt this since it's a new ordinance since we're changing an old ordinance.
Was this the one we talked about last month?
We did vote on that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we just need a motion to approve this. Oh, we got to do all 3 readings.
Three readings first.
I'll take care
All
of
right.
that.
So introduction of ordinance number 04-2025. We'll begin with the first reading by title only. Ordinance number 4-2025, a revised ordinance modifying the discount for seasonal utility use. Okay, if there's no objections to having the second reading by title only, have that second reading. Any objections? All right, ordinance number 4-2025, a revised ordinance modifying the discount for seasonal utility use. Okay, at this time we'll have the third reading of the ordinance by title only, as long as there's no objections. Any objections? Okay, ordinance number 4-2025, a revised ordinance modifying the discount for seasonal utility use. At this time we'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 4-2025.
Make a motion to adopt.
Been moved, second? Seconded by Ruth.
Ruth seconded.
Okay. All those in favor of ordinance 4-2025, so I raise your right hand. 7-0.
Okay, any other old business? New business, turn it over to Scott or Nick.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening, council. My name is Scott Frizzell, and I'm an attorney with Crick DeVault. We are serving as special counsel to the city for the pilot ordinance before you this evening. So the pilot ordinance authorizes the city to enter into a payment in lieu of taxes or a pilot agreement for the Chamberlain House project. So what is a pilot? A pilot is a tool that the city has to support affordable housing development. It's specifically authorized by state law. And with this incentive, the city enters into a pilot agreement. The owner of the property agrees to make voluntary pilot payments to the city, and then in exchange, the property owner can qualify for a property tax exemption. And so they would be seeking 100% property tax exemption in exchange for making the voluntary pilot payment to the city. And the criteria under state law for entering into the pilot agreement with the developer is that the project must be financed in part with low-income housing tax credits under Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code. And the project must also enter into an extended use agreement with the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. And so here, the Chamberlain House project is a 40-unit affordable housing project that has been awarded LIHTX from IHCDA. It will enter into an extended use agreement to maintain the affordability of those units for 40 years. So both conditions are satisfied for the city to enter into the pilot agreement, so the ordinance authorizes the city to enter into the pilot agreement, and the pilot agreement is attached as an exhibit. The conditions of the pilot agreement set the term of the pilot for 24 years, with the payment starting at $8,000 in year one, and then increasing 3% each year thereafter during the remaining 23 years. The ordinance also establishes the city's Affordable Housing Fund, which is a fund that's required to receive the payments of the pilot. And so Section 4 of the ordinance specifies the permissible uses of those funds in accordance with Indiana law. The general scope is that the funds can be used for the city to provide financial assistance to individuals or families with obtaining home ownership or leasing an apartment, as long as those individuals have an income that is less than 80% of the area median income. The city can also incentivize developers to construct similar projects that provide rent-restricted units to individuals making less than 80% of the area median income. And then finally, the city could use the funds to provide technical assistance to nonprofit developers of affordable housing, and then pay any expenses incurred by the city to maintain this fund. And so at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions about this pilot ordinance or the pilot agreement.
I have a question related to this. So the funds, and I guess this is for Trent maybe, the money that comes into this fund, and so the uses, providing financial assistance to those individuals and families whose income is at or below. So these specific tasks, will the city be responsible for those? Is the Lighted Pathways going to be responsible for making those
The city
decisions?
will be, right? Beth, you're asking, she's a
Well, I-
person.
It says right ahead that the mayor and clerk treasurer will be taking care of all this, so I'm assuming so.
Okay, I just wasn't sure because that just seemed like a
This
bit
is kind
much.
of, new pavement for us to navigate too, so we're kind of leaning on him to advise us.
Correct, so it will be the city's fund, but it can partner with other organizations to help determine how to carry out those objectives.
So I'm just looking at this, not that I'm just thinking that's kind of a lot of tasks for potentially that they're
Yeah.
Mayor Trent to do.
And so we can certainly create like an application or certain guidelines for how the city wants to target. Those are just the 4 permissible uses under state law. You don't have to do, I mean, you could do one of the 4 if you want, or you could try to target all 3 and then do like a general application that a developer can apply for funds or individuals can apply.
It's going to be a few years before that.
Yeah,
So
correct.
you have time, we have time to actually work out the details of what that
Correct,
looks
yeah,
like
so
in
the-
execution.
The first pilot payment will be starting in 2028
I saw
for this
that.
project, so there are a couple of years to work out those details.
Yeah, I just had that question just because I thought,
It'll probably fall in the next administration, honestly.
yeah, but Lighted Pathways would be a good partner, you know, for something such as that, just because that's what's under their general work that they do, so.
You know, we've been very supportive of this project from the beginning. This is, we've had abatement requests by the other complex. This is one of those ways that we can do something without shelling out cash, kind of incentive plan to them. You know, we know we're strapped on cash, so we've had this discussion with other abatements requests, and now this, but it's a little bit different angle, but it looked good, and we worked out terms through Creed DeVault and Nick in a plan that works for everybody, so.
So then, in essence, the payment in lieu of taxes, the city would receive this payment.
Yes.
But then the county or other entities would not receive, and that doesn't have to go through those entities.
We had, what was the deal on that? Is that has to do with the Mara Redevelopment Commission meeting on the notification of the other entities? Does that have anything to do with this
The
pilot
overlapping
program?
tax districts, that's the RDC.
Yeah.
Is it your-
The question I asked Beth was, so this is bringing in money for the city, which we're grateful for, but then the payment in lieu of property taxes, basically, that means other entities would not receive that.
Right.
That doesn't have to be approved by the other entities.
Scott can answer that question.
Yeah, that's correct. This only
Okay.
needs to be approved by ordinance of this council.
Okay, okay. This is the first time that I've heard about, I mean, I've heard the term, I just don't know much about
Good
that.
question. But the other one, that was the TIF, that we're also dealing on the overlapping tax districts.
Nick, you want to talk further about that before we go forward?
Sure. I'm Nick Starak. I'm the developer of the project, and Scott did a great job of explaining this. This is a pretty common tool that developers like myself are using across the state. Our company is a family-owned affordable housing developer. We're based in Indianapolis. We've been in business for about 45 years. We also have a property management company. And so we were one of several projects that applied for tax credits in the most recent round. We were successful along with Keller Development, and we appreciate your consideration of this incentive. And right now we're planning on starting in June, and I'd be happy to answer any other specific questions you might have about the project or the process going forward.
So you're with Keller, and I just.
No,
This is
with
the
Englewood.
other-
Keller's the other developer that has a project in town.
And I'm sorry, Scott, I'm just trying to get this straight because I didn't get a chance to see any of this before I came today. Scott, you're with who?
Creek DeVault.
Creed Development.
Yeah, law firm.
The law firm.
Correct, yep.
Okay, down in Indy.
Yep.
It's a law firm that the city's been using since I've taken office.
Okay.
And Scott's very experienced at this. I've worked with him in multiple cities now on pilots for similar projects.
And what's the timeliness that this has to be done by or approved by? Are we up against a time
Not
frame?
really. I mean, we can do this over a couple meetings, if you want to take a look at it further, but,
That's what I
Yeah.
prefer.
Yeah.
Okay, ideally, I'd like to have this wrapped up in May. If we were to start construction, we would have to have this approved, so any financial partners know that it's in place.
so we can do maybe one reading tonight, maybe the next two at the next meeting if we're comfortable with that.
I'd be more comfortable with that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to share?
No?
So I guess for these, I've been focused on the Keller just because that's the one that I think came back the most. For this specific unit, the focus is low income. Is that related to more attainable housing, affordable housing? What
Yeah,
is the
so-
audience, what's the process of the audience for the units and?
So we have units set aside for households that make at or below 30% of area median income, 50%, and 80%. And Keller would have the exact same structure as we do. So basically, an applicant can come in, if they're interested, they would have to provide some documentation to show what their income is, and, you know, it could be W-2s, or, you know, if they're a retiree, and get Social Security award letter, things like that. We have to validate that to make sure that they are income qualified. They go through a credit, criminal, and landlord background check. And then if they make it through that process, then they are offered a unit.
And there's on-site property management, is that like?
Yes, so there's a site plan that is on the last page there. There is hopefully it's printed out here. So there's two residential buildings and there's a community building, and that will have a full-time property manager there. We'll also have a full-time maintenance tech that will work at the site as well. There's a community room in there. There's a co-working center. We have a little pet washing station. We found that's popular as well. So yes, we will have full-time staff there to administer all this and oversee the property, make sure its needs are attended to.
Any other questions? And Nick, it was your family that developed Arbor Woods, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was my father 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, well,
First reading.
yeah.
All right, introduction of ordinance number 03-2025, we'll begin with the first reading by title only. Ordinance number 03-2025, an ordinance approving payments in lieu of tax as provided in Indiana Code Section 36-1-8-14.3 for an affordable housing project being financed in part with low-income housing tax credit pursuant to Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended, and approving and authorizing other actions in connection therewith.
So I urge you guys to look through that. Any questions, maybe Beth or I can answer those between now and next meeting. Great. And if we can, reach out to these guys. Okay. Good idea.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what did you talk to Heather? She's not here today, but, all right.
She's not feeling well. She said she'd come next month and do a year in report. However, she was wanting the council to sign off on those two waivers in there for waiving permit fees. One's for Habitat for Humanity and one is for the library. So Amy's got the things, and she just sent them to you today, so if you want to, they're really short. So they approved it, and they said the council has to approve it as well, so I'm presenting this.
Anyone object to either one of these?
For nonprofit purposes, right?
Yes. And they're just waiting to
You
build.
need a motion on that to pass? Okay, I'll make a motion to pass them both.
Second.
Both at once.
All right, good and seconded. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Okay.
Do you have the originals, Beth, or you need one of these?
you. There, Amy has them down here. She has them all.
Okay, county animal shelter.
Hi. Good evening. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Jody Wynn. I am the president of the Fort County Animal Adoption Education Center. Have been so since maybe 2013 or so. I do think you have a paper of what I'm going to cover, so I'll kind of paraphrase it and not read word for word because you can read. We opened our doors in 2011, and since then we've really grown and established a lot of great programs through our center. So what I want to do tonight is just make sure that we all are understanding what the Animal Center does for our community. So we average 940 animals that come into our center every year, and we adopt out almost 900 animals. To me, that is just incredible, the number of animals that come through there. We have attained a no-kill status since 2016. So that means that we have a save rate of over 90% for cats and dogs both. We are really closer to 95% in our save rate. We only euthanize for illness or those sorts of things because sometimes you do get some animals in that are very ill, and we try our best to save them, and sometimes we just can't. Every animal that is adopted out of our center is spayed or neutered prior to adoption. That's a big thing, so we cover that cost, and then the adoptive families don't have to do that. We've been doing a trap, neuter, and release program for community cats. So if you see cats in the community that have an ear tip, like the tip of one of the ears is cut off, that means that someone's caring for them, and they have been spayed or neutered and have had some rabies vaccines, and so they are a community cat, but that helps reduce the cat population. We have a great partnership with Animal Control through the county. In the past few years, we've been able to offer a low-cost vaccine clinic with additional discounts for low-income individuals. So we already have a low cost to do it. And then if you can bring us something that shows that you're a low-cost or low-income family, we offer an additional 15% off of that. So it's great access to vet care. New last year was a surgery clinic. So we are able to spay or neuter cats within our facility. And it's been an amazing process to do that, and we can offer that for all of our cats that are in our facility, but also we've been able to offer low-income or low cost for spay neuter for community cats. So if you have a cat at your house, $25, we'll get that cat spayed or neutered in our facility. It happens the same day. I've not actually been out there to witness it. That's not my, surgery's not my thing. I'm a banker by trade. We also offer a pet food pantry. So we partner a lot with Matthews Market down here. Often when people come from there to get food and they come out and we offer food for Fulton County residents for the animals too. We're also able to help the homeless population with general supplies for whatever they need for their pets. Those pets are sometimes the best companions for our homeless population, and we can offer them food or cleaning supplies or whatever they might need for that. We have a large volunteer base with over 20,000 social media followers, so people definitely are watching out for us. Some just interesting stats, we had 1,029 animals intake into our center last year. That was up from 2023. We adopted out 985 animals. Our cat save rate was 94.7% and our dog save rate was 97.5%. 807 animals went to our vaccine clinic last year. That was up from 660 in 2023. And then 285 animals were spayed and neutered in our surgery clinic. And again, last year was the first year for it, so we started out kind of small because we wanted to make sure we could do that. We have great partners and vets that come and do that, and our staff handles the before period. We continue to stay and grow and try to be relevant in that. We employ a full-time director. We made some changes this year. We have a new director in place, and we also have a person dedicated to oversee our vaccine and spay and neuter clinic. We have a person dedicated to volunteers, social media, making the marketing aspect of it. And then we have an animal care coordinator who makes sure all of our animals are healthy and up to date on vaccines. And then we have kennel techs who come in and just are cleaning the cages and taking care of the animals, and volunteers that come in and do that too. So we employ several people in our community. For 2025, we're looking ahead. So what are we doing? So we have been working hard on increasing the data that we have, including where the animals come from. And on the papers here that you see that 50%, we only have January numbers, but 56% of the January animals that came in were within Rochester city limits. We can look at in January 2025, Shreveport Public, 4 were out of city limits, 15 were inside, and then we had about 7 from surrounding communities, all in Fulton County. Animal control also brings us a lot of animals. We had 6 from Rochester, 5 out of city, 1 inside city limits, and we had active landers sporting Tijuana. And owner surrenders, we had 16 owner surrenders inside of city limits. That's someone who can't care for their pet for whatever reason. It could be, they've fallen ill, they're going to a nursing home, other issues that come arise. We don't judge. We are there to help the animals get reunited with the new family. Other goals we have going forward are working towards understanding the per cost animal and each component that goes into housing an animal. We're working on increasing public awareness of our programs. We're staying up to date and relevant in the animal welfare community. Our goal is to see 1,000 animals in the vaccine clinic, and I think we can do it, and to spay or neuter 500 cats in our clinic. Those are all impressive numbers, but we think about, we've been here since 2011, so we maybe sometimes take for granted what we're there and what we're doing. And we appreciate all the support, and if we didn't exist, we have to look at things that would be happening in our community, like spread of disease. Those animals can get sick and then spread those other animals that are maybe household pets, or yourself, depending on what the types of things they have. We could see starvation, cat colonies around the area. Breeding would be out of control, and we've seen that. The breeding used to be a big difference, and over the years, with our trap, neuter, and release program, we've seen a big difference in the cat population. And, accidents. We have, car accidents with animals being hit, aggressive animals, animal abuse. Those things are would be really prevalent if we didn't see that. We're grateful for everything that our community does, and we want to continue to be part of the community. We host fundraising events, we partner with organizations and pet owners. We're happy to be here and to support and let everyone know what we do, because sometimes everybody knows. So with that,
I was going to say, I want to brag on them for a second because I haven't made this 100% known, because it's just been a mad dash. But with the warming center that Fulton County Hope is doing, it was brought to our attention that we had a couple guests arrive with animals and learned through that process how much an animal is an emotional support to the homeless individual. And I called Jody almost immediately and said, hey, can you process this with me? What does this look like? And so though they were unable to take the animal
beyond capacity,
they were more than happy to provide supplies at no cost. And then we worked it out for EMA to have the crates be there, and then be ready if the animals did show up. So I was super grateful for them for making that available at the drop of a hat, so.
I'm happy to answer your question. I didn't pass out anything when I gave it to you guys. This is just our statistics from 2013, going for, to 2024. Just, it's amazing to see. Our center is not that large, and it's just incredible to see the number of animals that do pass through that center on an annual basis. And it kind of breaks all those numbers out, exactly what happened and all of that. So, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Can you bring us updated numbers like in July or so
Yeah.
before we get into the budget? time?
Absolutely.
The other thing I want to ask you, and didn't know this, but I know the county contributes a good amount, but I also found out that Akron was not.
And we are
Are you
working on
approaching
those
them?
things. We have approached them in the past, but, I really want to have some more solid numbers for the other towns, because, so far I've had one animal from Akron.
Yeah, I agree.
So we
You
need
need
to-
numbers to back it up.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
I've already planted a seed with the clerk over
I
there
love
saying,
that.
listen, you guys need to pay something.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing to also note is, the county does contribute, but the county also employs the animal control officer. So they have that full-time
Investment.
employee expense and all the things that go along with that. And she is very diligent about her job, and it always has
I
been.
know there's someone on your board that have a wrong opinion about me, thinking I'm against the animal. I'm really not. I just want to make sure everybody's paying the fair share. And that's the only thing.
Absolutely, and we understand that, and we're trying to make sure that everyone knows what we do. Because sometimes if you don't have household animals and that's not something that you appreciate and want in your life, you don't realize the things that do go on out there. And we built it from an amazing thing since we started in 2011.
So you plan on coming like maybe a July meeting with your
Absolutely.
with
Yep,
your first
today
6
was just
months?
to talk about last year, and Amy and I are in constant contact, and we'll absolutely
We
be here.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, Trent, do we want her to bring in the new director so that we can meet
Yeah,
her?
that'd be great.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
I've
couldn't,
met
she
her,
couldn't
but,
tonight,
yeah.
so that's what you got me. But she absolutely has
I think
plans
that would
to
be
be
nice
here
to
and meet
meet
her.
her.
And
Yeah.
she's worked at the center for about 8 years, so kind of stepping into a new role there. Right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Jody.
Yes.
He's here.
Yeah, you can have mine.
Oh.
And you can have the cookies on top.
No, the cookies.
Oh, there's extras? Thank you.
Okay. Helen, you want to come forward? I know this isn't maybe your thing, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a prelude. Helen came to me a few months ago, and she lost her father to suicide a year ago, December. Very difficult situation for her and her family, obviously. She was mentioning to me, we needed a suicide task force, and one that can come in and maybe help with the terrible job of cleaning up maybe, or helping fund, whether it's funeral expenses or whatever costs are associated with that. She was sharing with me some other communities that have a suicide task force. Helen, you can go more into detail about what they do. But I talked to Pat Brown. I think you've talked to Pat Brown, maybe working under, through them or with them or some way. But I'll let you take it from here, but I appreciate your willingness to share.
Okay, a lot of, I went to Logansport, and Logansport has a lot of, for our funeral arrangements, all the fundings will go to the cafe. The cafe will sort out the money for, if they need help with their funeral arrangements, help with, just to show that our community is caring. So, give them a little basket, just tell them that we're thinking of them. The cleanup was awful on me, so we can have that money to back up. We can hire somebody to come in to go on and clean it. Today I'm here, I'm gonna see if we get some help to start it, $1,000. And it will not go to me, it will go right to the cafe. So we can start this process as soon as we can, because it's a problem here.
She's looking for or gonna be attracting volunteers. I invited her to come and speak and make the request, whatever she felt like was a number that she wanted.
And, we need volunteers, we need everything to get this going. And I really appreciate you guys listening to me.
Questions?
You sure
Okay,
can.
awesome. So I guess clarifying the thoughts in my head. So if what I understand to be correct is that you have worked with Pat
Yes.
to create a suicide task force. And the intention of the suicide task force is to execute support of families that may be unable to provide for their own cleanup. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then come alongside those families in other ways in which they can be.
Grieving and we can all work together and get this resolved.
And so I got lost for a second on the Logansport thing. You had mentioned Logansport to start off with.
Yes, I went to Logansport and they have all kinds of things.
Okay, so you went to research this
So
idea
I
at
wanted
Logansport.
to, yes, to
Okay.
research. I mean, I've been on phones, I've called a lot of people, and I don't have nothing here.
Do other communities, I mean, Logansport has this and
Oh,
it's
yes.
part of a nonprofit of some
Yes,
sort,
it's
so.
nonprofit.
And you've talked to Denise over at the health department, right,
Yes.
about maybe some help with some monies
Yes.
there as well to help
Yes, so we
grow
have,
this.
I did talk to Denise at the health department,
With the Health First Indiana funds.
yep, so.
Where would that come from?
Probably in mayor's budget, where, if you don't know where else it comes from.
But it's up to you, I guess.
I have no objection.
I have no objection.
So we need a motion to approve that $1,000.
I'll make a motion to approve taking $1,000 from Trent's budget.
Yes.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Great. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your work.
If you need anything else, let us know. And
Okay.
okay, Steve Fishburne.
Got it.
Steve, that's not coming in.
Yeah, he's out there. Steve, Fish.
I'm just here on behalf of the Rochester American Legion, the Rochester and Kimball FFWs. That time of year, we need to get our flags ordered for the veterans' graves on all cemeteries and counties. Just here to hit you up for some money.
We've already, Fish called me up about a week ago, so we've been talking about this ever since he first brought it up to me and found out that the city was not donating to the funds. And that's when we started doing it. And, we have already got him in the budget for the next 5 years for $3,000 a year for the next 5 years. And so to make it a little bit easier on Steve or whoever may be doing this, but I'm sure it will be Steve, that he could just go to Beth because it's going to be in the budget instead of him. And they can get started. The weather's getting nice, and it's quite a time-consuming ordeal to get all those flags out.
You just have to let him fill out, sign that form that says you're ready to take the money, basically.
Okay. You have
So
one,
we did
So then
that
this would just
do you have one to fill out?
No, it's already done.
Oh, it's already.
It's already done. We don't have any to say about it.
We voted on it last year.
Yeah, this time your budget from last year.
It's in your sheets. It's a 5-year deal.
You said you had a form one.
He wasn't, man. I think he remembered that at this point. He was done.
But I told him, when I told him, he said, "Oh, I thought somebody," I said, yeah.
He told me that.
Email it to me, and just come in.
So this is just a reminder.
This is just that he was coming, asked for the money, but then we clarified this. So we didn't have to do that.
All right, guardian advocates, Alicia.
Hello, Mayor and City Council members. So tonight, I am here to request approval for
Thanks, Dave.
$5,000 donation to our organization. It was a pleasure to be able to meet with the Hope members last week and speak there about our organization. So I'll briefly just summarize tonight who we are and what we do, again with a little example of how we're working in the community. We are a adult guardianship program. We obtain guardianship for adults with incapacitations. What does it mean to be a guardian? A guardian is a person who is a fiduciary, is appointed by the courts, and a conservator responsible for making personal, financial, and healthcare decisions for individuals, again, with incapacitations. What's an individual with incapacitations? It is a person who is unable to manage in whole or in part their property or their self-care due to mental illness, physical disabilities, infirmities, intellectual disabilities, exploitation even so much is going there. So that is what we do. That is who we are. And just a little brief on our funding and the support that we get for our organization. So the Indiana Supreme Court, the task force and the Supreme Court did an investigation back in 2014 to find out the need for adult guardianships in the state of Indiana. Like you got CASA for children, we are that for adults, okay? So the Supreme Court decided, yes, there's a big need because they were seeing a lot of, within the court system, a lot of family guardianships. People weren't reporting their finances, they weren't reporting the individual's whereabouts, or that the individuals were even passing away. So the courts were never able to close these cases. So they created this VASIA organization. We now serve 50 counties of the 92 in Indiana. Guardian Advocates West, who I represent, serve 5, and then our East Division serves 3. So we serve 8 counties in the state of Indiana out of those 50. With that being said, the Supreme Court decided that they would fund these VASIA organizations with the expectation that the programs would get a matching through the cities and counties that they are serving. So, for example, I have to get $5,000, then I can apply for $10,000 with the Supreme Court for their grant fund in November. The only thing is that this year it went from 75 last year to 90,000 that you could apply for this year. So I have to have matching funds. I have to get up to 45,000 from our cities in order to apply for the 90,000. Well, I did that and I applied for the 90,000. Well, the Supreme Court did their stuff, whatever it is, and they only awarded us 60,000. So there's other circumstances. We are a volunteer organization. We need volunteers. Anybody interested in volunteering? We always need volunteers. But that was another stipulation to the grant through the Supreme Court, was that we have matching volunteers as well. So again, tonight I'm here to request your approval for $5,000 donation for our organization. The commissioners was so kind as well to donate $5,000 already as well for this year, 2025. Now on to an example of a situation that we would step in to be guardian for. We got a call from Officer Haney back in June of 2024 about a lady who was potentially incapacitated. She was being exploited by some telemarketers. Bank account had been shut down, card had been shut down. She didn't have access to food. Police officers were able to get to a local church to get her some food. And then we followed up the day after. We got the referral about 6 o'clock in the evening. We followed up the day after to check on this lady. And it was, in fact, she needed our assistance. We visually, I've done this for 7 years, so we visually were able to show or see that there was some type of incapacitation. She needed somebody that had to take for her. Her husband was deceased. She had no living children. She had no children at all, and she's in her 80s, okay? So we worked with the primary care doctor to get a physician's report to show she has an incapacitation, whether it's dementia, Alzheimer's, or typically those are the two for the elderly, but they would not give us a physician's report at that time. She proceeded to go to the hospital. We still couldn't get a physician's report from the hospital. Well, this lady's case did a full circle because this January, we had to let that go because we had no evidence to proceed with a petition in the courts for guardianship because there was no incapacitation diagnosis. So, but January this year, Woodlawn called us back again and said, hey, she's calling me every day. And I said, let me guess. And I named her, and they were like, yeah. I guess I said, well, she's been on our radar for a while. So they were able to give us a physician's report, and God bless Perkins and Adley. I emailed Lauren right away and I said, hey, this is the situation. Would you be willing to represent us on getting guardianship for this individual? And Lauren was so kind to represent us, and Judge Lee was wonderful to grant us the guardianship. And this lady is now in Hickory Creek. She was, 2 weeks after we got guardianship, she was diagnosed with lymphoma cancer, maybe. We don't really know. She doesn't want to move forward with finding out what's going on with her. but she's a wonderful lady, and we are truly blessed to be able to be in her life and to serve her and to help her. And so another part of we're not realtors, but she does have property, and she does understand that we are gonna have to liquidate that property because she is now in a long-term care facility. The property's deplorable anyway, so it's best that it goes. So, and it'll go towards her care. We don't charge anything but a $35 guardianship fee from these individuals, and that's Medicaid approved. That's through their Medicaid. And so this service is essentially free. So it takes community support to fund our organization, for me and my 2 staff members to do what we do in these 5 counties. And so I'm here tonight, again, to ask for your support.
I think I heard this today sometime, that you had actually were called upon to help an individual just recently through the warming center.
Yeah, I actually called her because we had a situation in which we didn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, I remembered that, and I had not heard her presentation yet. She did present to Fulton County Code, but I called her and, sorry, I got a tickle. She was jolly on the spot. She took care of it. And was able to, is in the process of assisting this person.
And I think, I mean, I was a little, to be honest with you, I was a little hesitant about this last year because of the level of help, being provided for the request. But I do see through the warming center and one of the stories I'm hearing through that you have these individuals that really need an advocate. And I think as we continue to have these warming shelters or a permanent location for one down the road, hopefully soon, this is going to be probably more, you're going to get more involved. So I'm encouraged that the commissioners saw fit to do it, and I just want to encourage you, council. I know it's your decision, but I've kind of flipped on this a little bit. I am in favor of supporting this, and I ask you to support this as well, because I think the need is going to continue to grow as we reach out to more and more people in our community.
And for me, I was really impressed when she spoke last time, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I had told her that when she had spoken, I was unclear as to what she provided. And so, and it was hard and it's terrifying to come before all of us. And so we asked her graciously to come to the Fulton County Code meeting. She did. I sent y'all an invitation for free lunch, but she did come, and I have noticed that she's helping to clarify the message even more and pressing in to really to do what we've asked her to do and to provide value for the community. So she has worked really hard to make sure that she's meeting our expectations and showing value in what she is providing for the city of Rochester.
And thank you for that. Yeah, so this lady, it was approximately about 5 weeks ago, and I met with the lady the very next day, found out who she was, got her information. She does have mental health issues, significant mental health issues. She is homeless. So, right away, I found out, who's your doctor, when's your next doctor appointment? She couldn't tell me that she had a primary care doctor, but she had a surgeon, is all she kept on saying. I said, well, when's your next appointment? I attended that appointment with her. That doctor confirmed, I will not do the physician's report because it's a conflict of interest. She needs surgery. It's gonna look like I'm giving you the physician's report just to do the surgery. I said, okay, that's fine. We'll get her a primary care physician. So, and this is God sent right here. Dr. Brubaker here in town. I called him right away because we have another client who sees him, and he said, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. And the nurse reached out to him and said, we'll do it tomorrow. We went in the next day. He actually has a child that he is guardian for, adult child, excuse me, so with intellectual disabilities as well. So he was more than willing to give us the physician's report. He met with the individual that we're working with, and just you know that individual could really, that their quality of life can really increase when they have that constant support. We are an adult guardianship organization. We stay with these people. Even if I no longer have a job, somebody else will come in my place and they will still be under the wings of guardian advocates to be their family and to provide them and give them the services that they need. And so I did get the physician's report, and I'm looking at filing a petition for guardianship soon.
Is that how much we gave last year?
I think we
$5,000.
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we last year?
Well, I know you made a presentation, but I didn't think we ever voted on it.
Yeah,
in
We
20.
didn't vote on it.
That was the year before.
We had, it'd been in the budget
It had been?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, all right.
For 2024, and we.
Which fund did they come out of? I mean,
Mayor's fund.
Yeah. I think
He's
it
got no
was
money
edit-
left.
Edit fund. was
Well,
what-
it was, yeah, it was, I mean, I
Well, see, we came at the end of 2023, and you guys did donate the $5,000 for 2024.
Okay.
And then that's why I'm here
That
for
was before.
2025 now. So I'll be back at the end of the year for 2026.
So,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
I think it might have been the
So,
council funds.
Is anybody interested in making a motion?
I
to
mean,
this?
I'll make a motion, because I feel like we've done our research. I'll make a motion to give her the 5,000.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Who seconded it?
Aye.
Brian Goodman.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. God bless you. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Same thing with last year, it's just in the letter.
Alicia?
Sorry, I can't tell you.
Come back in July for the next budget year.
Yeah.
You might want to come back in July or August.
If you're gonna, for the next budget meeting,
Yeah.
then we could put it in the budget, and put it for, yeah, like we do for the,
Animal shelter, so,
and
hang on to
the
July.
the Legion and stuff, you know.
yeah, okay. Hang on to July meeting.
Oh, great, okay, wonderful.
all right.
Thank you guys so much.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's the kids on new business.
I do, this is.
Fire Chief Du Bois, do you have a report, sir?
Sure. Month of January, 34 medical, 3 structure fires, 3 alarms, 7 accidents, 3 vent protection, 1 inspection, 2 gas leak, 2 smoke alarms installed, 1 grass fire, and 1 public service assistant for a run total of 57. We interviewed 2 new candidates for volunteer positions. Started the process of quoting gear, received a large tank out behind the station that will do some confined space training in. Airvac was nice enough to donate that to us. We just had to get it moved for them. We were able to do that. Monthly drill was ice rescue at the lake. Shift drill's been working on webbing, rescue harnesses. Special projects, the additional rooms upstairs are about 3/4 complete, all the drywall's up, painting is starting the process. We got a little bit of wiring and a ductwork to move in the other room. With the new year, CPR started, we had our first one last Wednesday night. It also came to, Dwayne contacted us that some of the city employees who got their certs 2 years ago are expired, so we'll be setting up a date, as well as anybody on the board that wants to come out and get their CPR recerted. And then we'll also be going to the school to teach all the 8th graders. Previously, we had been buying mannequins, these blow-up mannequins with these kids, at a cost of about $5,000 a year. The program that came through, and after talking to the teacher there, we were there for a day. The idea was that they took them home and taught somebody at home how to do it, and so we asked his consensus, are they reusing these things like, or not, because that's a pretty expensive endeavor, or would actually spending a week with them and getting them certified with a card be a better option, and they like that option better. So I had to buy some additional mannequins, which ours were getting old anyways, but that's the plan, is to be there for a full week, and these kids will all walk out with CPR cards, which is a good deal for them. I mean, we kind of talked to them about, it's something they can actually put on a resume, because they're going to be seeking jobs, and so we'll spend a week over there with that, and then shortly after that, we will get ready for the mock prom crash.
Sir, Chief Shots.
Good evening. For the month of January, we had 17 accidents. We issued 56 warnings. 58 total offenses, 30 lockouts. We conducted 119 traffic stops, 31 case reports, 449 incidents, 12 people incarcerated, and then you have the list of crimes people are lodged for. Other than that, Ed Haynes's last day is going to be March 6th. He's retiring. And then we have testing. We've been accepting applications for the last month. We've set testing for Saturday, March 8th.
Ice cream and cake?
From 2 to 4.
Thank you.
One big party.
6. What up, 7?
No, 6.
I know, but I was gonna have more ice cream.
Okay, don't anybody, any other department heads present, so Downtown Partnership, Harry or Julie, or, oh, I saw Harry come in, but whoever.
Give you an update since we're here. Everyone's here in support of the DORA, and thank you for your support of that ordinance. It's going to be just a nice tool, I think, to make some of our summer events better. We've been busy. We have several new board members. We have new people in the promotions and also in the design committee that are very actively engaged. We're putting together in the developing phase of two programs. One is for economic vitality, where we're working on trying to come up with a stimulus and information projects, or just information on how to renovate some of these downtown unused spaces, mostly apartments, or just trying to get some awareness of what they could possibly do with their space and help open the door for some resources. And we're also working with the theater on an outdoor venue space, and that's an exciting project, going in front of trying to establish some grant dollars with Lilly Foundation and others to go in the place where the existing thread drilling is. Just kind of, that would really enhance our outdoor activities in the summertime. So those are the main things driving us right now. And of course, Julie's been very busy with putting together a great lineup for our Nickel Plate Art and Music Festival. She's pretty much got the band secured. We're going to have a parade that starts at 11, followed by Brian Evans and Faith Outreach performing in the early afternoon. And that will bring a big crowd. And then in the early evening, we're going to have a John Mellencamp tribute band. People will like that. And to close out the evening, we're going to have a Guns N' Roses band at like around 8 o'clock. So it should be a day full of music and lots of activities going on. She's also working on putting into a fine art tent where we bring in some of the local talent to display more than just your trinket art, but more some fine art that maybe some of the people in the community would be interested in seeing what some of our local artists are doing. So that's it. Thank you.
That's our work.
Julie, do you have any, after this weekend, any updates on the theater and what's come through there this year to date?
No, we're fastly approaching 2,000 visitors for the year. We had Haywood Banks over the weekend. I mean, we keep gathering impact statements from our neighbors. We met last week with the Art and Culture Lilly Foundation folks. They were really impressed. It's a driver for that. We had a nice collaboration. The library was there, RDP, the theater, any artists I could grab. Matt and Julie Sutton, who have just been public servants for a couple decades in Rochester, put together some sketches for an art center. We just got great feedback. We're thrilled. Keeping busy. Haywood Banks was hilarious. So.
All right. Ruth, do you have anything on the area plan?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. We need to change that.
Do you want to do solid waste for this year? It's next time. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Area plan, we did not meet in February, but I think we already gave that report, and that we are continuing to review different ordinances related to energy, and so solar and nuclear, all the different things and conversations, battery storage, so lots of different conversations coming our way. So just making sure that we are relevant in those conversations and do our due diligence and make good decisions.
Okay.
And then you heard animals already.
Mike. Becko.
Late last week, we located the hotel. It's going to go in behind the pilot out there and a little bit south of the Walmart where the road dead ends. At this point, the ball is in the mayor's court with incentives. No, it's in your court to decide what kind of incentives you want to give to the hotel. There's various programs that are available that we've been discussing what to do. I'm trying to track down some of these other communities where Cobblestone is already located, find out what they have done so that we can give them, be on the same basis, pretty much understand what they're asking for. We still have to raise about $2.9 million in private investment. That 2.9 will change depending on how much the city's willing to give, whatever the costs are on that. So that's, the hotel's in there pretty much assuredly. We just have to finish the fine details. I'm still working on the RAD program. There's a lot of data entry, a lot of time on the phone, getting people to sit on the committees that we've got to have. That's a 2-day training, and then there'll be an implementation of strategies that deal with the problems that we've come up with. So this is a year-long project. We have a lot of support from Ball State and from Okra on this. So right now we're just in the detail work. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, on the industrial park, we got the MOU. Jim had signed it before his passing. I've got it signed. And one of the other things is I have to fill out the paperwork for that so that we can get it down for the ready-to funding. And lastly, we received some maybe good news, possibly, that there may be a Ready 3 funding program. But we're just not sure yet. They're talking about it right now. There's a lot of different programs in the office with this administration. So.
When he was talking about the 2.9 million and what the city's wanting, not necessarily monetary, but if we give incentives, I believe that knocks down that investment that we require from private.
So it's not
It's not asking for money from the
or
city,
actual
no.
money,
No.
but they are.
Basically a tax abatement, but this would be innkeeper's tax.
That's the type of program that they are.
There might be some private installation of some water and sewer that we can, Commonwealth can value as if it was, in such a way, kind of in kind. We can do some things to help lower that 2.9.
You'd also have to extend the road south for however, whatever distance they wind up at. I actually have a map in the office where they have picked the actual site that they want to go on to. But they want to be in the city, not in the county. And there will be no freestanding sign or anything like that. But this is a 4-story building, and you will be able to see it from the highway with no problems.
And so can we say where the location is, or what?
It's behind Pilot.
It's behind
the
Pilot,
pilot,
okay.
down where the
road ends.
hit the dead end road and just turn south.
And then we cannot say who the actual hotel is.
Yeah, Cobblestone.
Cobblestone. I've heard you say that, I've never heard of Cobblestone.
Think Hampton Inn, Holiday Inn Express. That's the type.
I heard that term, but I did not.
Well, they like the smaller communities. I'm researching another project, and I found out that this small town in Iowa has Cobblestone. So they're all over the Midwest, all over the place. They like the smaller communities. Kokomo is too big. They would never go into an Indianapolis or anything. So we're the right size. We did the study and came up.
They're looking at 4-story, 54 units?
54 units.
Yeah.
And they target the small communities that really have a hard time being a draw for the Holiday Inn Express or the Hilton Garden Inn type thing, so.
They've got 2 in Indiana already, one in Salem and one in Charlestown, which is
Charlestown's a little bit north of Clarksville, Jeffersonville.
They're nice looking facilities.
Yeah.
And so for the red program, so the next step for that is to do training, is that what I understand? Okay.
On the 18th and 19th of March. Okay.
And then, on the FEDCO board, Mark McCall was the appointment. He stepped into another seat, so I left it open, and I reached out to Evan Gottschalk, and he has accepted. I didn't think anyone would object to Evan.
All right. Bob, you got anything on the park board? I know you weren't there last meeting, but.
It's been February 10th, right?
Right.
Our park board.
You don't have anything that you, okay.
Yeah, they're having a meeting right now, I guess, on their 5-year plan.
Okay. They're working with USI Engineering on their 5-year plan, so they had a special meeting tonight, so. Okay, Mark, you got anything on the Council of Aging?
We had Council on Aging meeting yesterday, and from RSVP, they have started doing the tax returns, and so if people want help, need help with tax returns, they are making appointments for those. There are day trips that are planned with RSVP. I don't know the dates of those, but I do know they are dinner and show dates at Covington at the Beef House and Shipshewana. And those are very popular. There is a trip planned for May 17th to the 23rd that's going to New Orleans. And there's the price has not been determined on that. And there is a 4-day trip that will be headed to Branson, Missouri in December. They're also getting ready for the St. Patrick's Day Carnation fundraiser, which is the primary fundraiser of RSVP. And they've ordered 2,000 carnations. They're $1.75 a piece. So if people are interested in that, Transpo, a little bit of increase for trips in January 25 over 24. I'm sorry, a little decrease, but basically the same number. 2,296 trips were done by Transpo in the month of January. Golf outing for fundraising for Transpo will be June 14th. The Wellness Center operation is going very well, and the transition seems to be pretty smooth. Roughly about 30 new members since January have joined, which is exciting. And the golf simulator will soon be up and running. They had it, but there were some parts missing. Well, the missing parts have been found and are now in the hands of Doug, and who is an avid golfer. So golf simulator will be up and running shortly. BZA hasn't met for quite a while, but we meet tomorrow night with one item on the agenda, the property at 525 Madison Street, which I believe is a vacant lot right now, but it is in the downtown commercial district, and the owners want to put a single-family residence on that site. Single-family residents are in the commercial downtown district are limited to only second-story apartments and/or houses at this point, so they're asking for a variance to put a home up on this lot. So that's on the agenda for tomorrow night. Are any questions? That's my report.
The golf outing for the council at the Elks, it used to be at the Elks.
Yes.
What is the time? Do you know, Mark, what time it starts? What time it starts, the golf outing? Did they say yet? They haven't figured it out.
The meeting?
The golf outing.
It'll be a morning and afternoon.
A morning and afternoon.
They usually have 2 flights, I think.
Yeah.
I think we usually get there about 7:30, start setting up.
Tree board, I was out of town when they met, tree sidewalk board, were you here for that?
I was not, I didn't update my calendar from last year, so I had the wrong date.
And I honestly don't know when the next date is, probably on the schedule somewhere. Jane, I know has a schedule.
Yeah,
I was there.
Hey, you want to give a report?
Real quick. They talked about sidewalks this time, just outlining the process for sidewalks being paid. We're determining what that looks like instead of the 50/50. So that was something that was decided. Money was put aside for $50,000, so they talked about what that looks like and beginning that process. And there was an event that was brought up for Earth Day in potential partnership with the Parks Program to teach kids about responsible ownership of the environment. So they are looking at partnering with Lindsay Bartz with the Parks Department for that event, which I think is a requirement for the tree board. So something they have to do. So lots of good conversation to continue to build the relationships and figure out what the next steps are for making sidewalks and trees cohesive.
All right, water board, John.
Well, everything's running smooth in the water board, which is the greatest of things. Right now, let me see, we've got right here, the glass companies are up there putting new glass in the front of the building. And I don't know when that's going to be completed, but Rochester Glass is doing it, and it doesn't, I guess it doesn't say in here, I should did bring my large computer tonight, and this print is small. And then the other thing that was going on is that Doug told everybody that the softener number 3 is in dire need of being replaced, and he asked for approval to move forward to replace it, and of course a motion was made to replace that. Purchasing the utilities from the Kronberg family outside of Country Meadows, that's still moving along, at least unless something happened during this month. That is still moving forward, to the best of my knowledge. Other than that, everything else was rolling smooth.
Thank you. Andy, do you have anything from the legal department?
Just briefly, like a lot of municipalities, the city benefits greatly from municipal bonds. It fuels our infrastructure for the long term. The feds are reconsidering, as they do from time to time, the tax exempt status of municipal bonds. If that goes away, that would greatly affect a lot of cities and towns. I went to attend a webinar on it earlier in the week. Most are saying it's unlikely, but if you have an opinion about that, it probably wouldn't hurt for you to reach out to Congressman Yocum's office about that issue, because it has to do with how they will pay for other things. And one of the things under consideration is the long-term status of the tax-exempt municipal bonds. And so if those no longer become tax-exempt, they become a less desirable investment, and how you finance things long-term changes drastically. So just keep that in mind. But that's all I have.
Is there a place that we can read about it?
You could Google it. There's no one place. I mean, there's a lot of it.
Will it affect any that are in place already?
don't know. Depends how they change the law. I mean, if they change it all. It may just be they're throwing it out there, kind of thing.
All right, any ADA concerns? Okay, open it up for any public comment that needs to be made. We have a resolution on the table that corrals public comment to a limited amount of time. So does anybody have any public comment that needs to be made? If not, need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Bruce seconded. Brian Goodman made the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Is that a reason scheduled by congressional?